Have you struggled through a series of toxic relationships? Are you in one right now? Well, after a series of chaotic, turbulent, wrong relationships, I finally found Mr. Right, and that was 44 years ago. So today we're going to talk about why you're misattracted to people and what to do about it. If you were raised in alcoholism, addiction, mental illness, if you lost a parent at an early age, if your parents had narcissistic tendencies, any of these environments can be very emotionally vacant for a child. And in reality, it's abandonment. It's not physical abandonment necessarily, although it could have been. But it is an emotional and a mental and maybe even a spiritual abandonment when a child grows up like that. Our adult responses try to recreate what we're used to because that's what we've been trained by. So we usually choose people who are unreliable, emotionally distant, unavailable. Maybe they're married or they're in a relationship with someone else, and for some reason we just feel compelled to want to be in a relationship with that person because it's our normal. And if we happen to land a healthy relationship, it feels very, very weird to us, and it sort of feels like we're really being vulnerable and we're giving them a chance to destroy us, and that doesn't feel too great. So sometimes we just destroy it ourselves. We self-sabotage it. When I met my husband, I fell for him because he was the kindest, sweetest guy I had ever met. Really, to this day, he still is. But after we were married for about a year, I started thinking, this guy's kind of boring. Like, he always comes home and I don't have to wonder where he is, and he's not in the bars and he's not chasing women, and he's just working hard and coming home and wanting to spend time with me. And that just felt so foreign to me. So I began, first of all, to test it. Is this real? Like, is he really, really gonna come home? Is he really going to be somebody I can trust? Once I'd sort of settled that, I thought, yeah, but there's no excitement in this relationship. So I started to create it myself. And what I would do is pick arguments with him. He had no idea what was going on, poor thing. And I would pick a fight and I would escalate the fight, and then I would leave for a while. Now, I didn't have anywhere to go, mind you, so I just drove around the neighborhood or something like that. And then I went back home and I made up, and we waited a little while, and then I would do it again because somehow the feeling of calm was just so abnormal for me. And right about that time, I happened to meet my spiritual director, really good counselor as well. And I began the healing process. And 44 years later, we're still going strong. So it can be done. You can find the right person. Let's talk about the steps to get there. The first thing for Christian women is always going to be to surrender it to God. That's our foundation for any healing that we desire in our lives, no matter what it's from, is to go to Him first and know that He loves us. Jeremiah 31:3 says, I have loved you with an everlasting love. And trusting that love isn't automatic. It's not an instant process. So these things are going to take some time. They take some work on our part. We're going to have to read the Word of God. We're going to have to learn about the Word of God. Going to have to try to listen to the Lord and what He's saying to us. But if we will, He will heal us so gently. In Deuteronomy 7 verse 22, one of my favorite verses, says, that God will remove the beasts of the field a little at a time, lest the weeds would grow too numerous for us. And that was spoken to the children of Israel back in the day to tell them about the enemies being dispossessed from the land that they were getting ready to take possession of. But I've always thought that was an interesting verse when it comes to our own emotional, mental, spiritual healing, because if God showed us everything that we need to be healed from in an instant, it's just like it would be way too much. But he takes us a little bit at a time, and he shows us what we need to face, what behavior needs to change. He's very gentle about it. And the other verse that always was comforting to me was in Isaiah 40, verse 11, where we read that Jesus leads his flock like a shepherd, and he gathers the lambs in his arms and gently leads those that are with young. And that's a comforting verse. If you're a mother, you know that he's caring for you and for your children, even if they're adults, and your grandchildren and whatever comes after that. Second, we need to get to know ourselves. A lot of times we don't even really know what we like or what we don't like if we grew up in an environment like that, because most of the time we weren't really allowed to be children. So we don't have a normal childhood evolution. So we need to learn what we like. Think about it. What is it that you like to do? Do you like to cook? Do you like to garden? Do you like to hike? Do you like to read? Do you like to swim? I love to ride horses. I still do. I love to snow ski. I still do. I love to lay on the beach in California. I still do when I can. Those are the things that I really like to do. Find out what you like to do. Spend some time with you. Get to know you, because you're really the most important person in this relationship right now. This thing needs to be somebody that you can trust when you end up in a permanent relationship. Number 3, journal. This is another great way to kind of find out how you're really thinking and feeling. Don't type it out on the computer. That's kind of cheating anyway. But something happens in our brains when we actually sit down and put pen to paper. Don't edit it, no matter what it feels like or sounds like when it comes out. Just write it down. You don't have to keep it. You can rip it up and put it in the trash, or you can burn it. I used to have a friend in Al-Anon, and he would talk about writing hate mail, and then he would burn it. And I thought that was funny. You don't have to do that, although you might want to. But just journal. Just get your feelings out. Become acquainted with your feelings. Number 4, be willing to do the work, because it's going to take some work. It's a great idea to employ the help of a professional. There's lots of counselors that are very familiar with complex trauma and some of the post-traumatic stress that comes after that. Life coaches, that's what we do here at Faith Forward Coaching, is work with women who have grown up in blank and empty environments and help them to work through some of the issues that they have as adults. So be open to that idea, because having someone who can give you perspective and brainstorm with you is really invaluable for this journey. Consider a support group. There are several 12-step groups. I think there's, 12,000 or something like that right now, that grew off of AA, which was the original one. But there's Love Addicts Anonymous, there's Sex Love Addicts Anonymous, there's Codependents Anonymous, Adult Children of Alcoholics, which would work for, like I said in the beginning, anybody that has grown up in an emotionally vacant environment. Al-Anon is I think it's kind of a catch-all. Maybe even if you don't have an alcoholic or addict in your close proximity, or you didn't grow up with one, it just has so many principles that just apply to everyday life and to Christian life to just keep you accountable, which is what is really going to keep you happy. We're never happy when we're not accountable. We really aren't. When we know that we have made amends for our mistakes, we can walk away. We don't have to carry that anymore. And that's part of the 12 steps. It's not all of it, but it is part of it. And that's a very freeing part of any support group, is kind of coming to terms with what's really inside and dealing with it in a balanced way, not in a self-critical way, not in a self-judgmental way, just a balanced, healthy way. Then my last piece of advice, this can be a little controversial, but I believe in it so firmly, is to begin the forgiveness process. Now, when I say process, I'm talking about the entire package, because forgiving is an emotional healing journey that you need and you deserve. It's been said that unforgiveness is like drinking poison and hoping it hurts the other person. So we do not want to carry around unforgiveness and resentment, but sometimes we need help with that process. So just ask God to help you and say the words. All you have to do is say the words. You don't have to feel good about the words. You don't have to feel good about the person. You don't have to feel good about the situation. You just got to say the words. That's the beginning. And then what happens is your emotions begin to heal. And your feelings will change. You will find that as time goes on, whatever that trauma involved won't have a grip on you. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to trust the other person or like the other person or feel good about the other person. And it doesn't mean that you have to be in a relationship with the person who hurt you either. I chose to be in a relationship with my parents. That was what I did. That worked for me. That might not work for everybody. If you grew up in an alcoholic or even an abusive environment, might not work for you. You get to be the judge of that, but you don't have to immediately be in a close relationship with that other person just because you've forgiven them. So I hope that helped you guys. You can download a free document that will walk you through a 3-step process. Anything that you're working through that you want to surrender, reach out to me in the comments. Leave me your prayer requests. We're here for you. We are here to work with women who have been kind of abandoned as they grow up and need to work out some of those issues. There's lots of hope. There's lots of healing. So I will be back soon in the next video, and I will see you then. God bless. Bye.